I just got back from some trips to Oklahoma and Georgia, and boy did I find a lot of stuff on those trips. So stay tuned to find out what I got. Hey guys, welcome into another haul video here, haul video number 144. Hope you guys are having a great week, great month, great year. But yeah, anyways guys, welcome into another haul. As I mentioned at the top of this video, I did go on a couple of trips for work. I was in Muskogee, Oklahoma and Atlanta, Georgia these last 2 weeks for work. And as I normally do when I travel, I do take some time outside of my working hours to make some drives around the local area at some local comic stores and bookstores and look for comics, which is what I did. So that's gonna be the main portion of this video. While I was on these trips, I also did pick up some trading cards, so I'll show that in that section. And not necessarily on these trips, but while I was, traveling, or while I was home between trips and stuff like that, I did go ahead and pick up some Lego sets at a couple of places. So we're getting to the point now where some of these older sets are starting to hit clearance shelves. I've been capitalizing on that. So definitely a full video here today for this. So let's go ahead and start with the comics as we normally do. Alright guys, welcome into the comic book section here for haul video number 144. So definitely a lot of places to talk about that shopped at for comics. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about what I've been reading honestly these last couple weeks, and I apologize, the list is going really long, but that's just because I've been reading a lot of like one-off, like smaller versions of different things. I do have a Goodreads account, so if anyone wants to go on there and check that out, maybe I'll drop a link for that in my description here so you guys can check that out. But yeah, anyways, since the last video, I have been reading a lot lately. So I started with Day Tripper, so finally got around to reading that series after having it for a couple of months here now. Very emotional story, definitely one of the best comics I've read so far. I won't say too much about it other than that everyone who's a fan of comics should definitely read it. It's definitely a really good story, and it's a page turner. I finished the whole book in less than a day, honestly. That's how quickly I read it. So really, really good book there for sure. The next book I read was Low by Rick Remender, so one of his Image series that he did. Quick 26-issue series collected across 5 trades. That was really good. Basic premise of that is it's basically it's a civilization of humans that have moved underwater to live, just because the radiation and everything on the surface of Earth is uninhabitable. I don't know what the word is, but basically humans can't live on the Earth anymore, so they have to go underwater. And we get a story about a family who's trying to discover one of the probes that left Earth to go find other life to live at. So really interesting story. Was a little shaky to start, I'm not gonna lie, but the Greg Ticini art definitely helped with the story. And yeah, I'm very satisfied with the ending. It definitely felt like it was proper length. I felt like it didn't drag on too long. If anything, I felt like it was kind of moving pretty quickly for what it was. But overall, really good read. Highly recommend. I'm not sure if Image has created a hardcover for it or compendium, but all 5 trades are readily available if you want to go that route. But yeah, pretty neat find. I did find the first trade for that like last year somewhere when I was traveling, so it's only been a year since I started collecting it. So really good series there. I moved on to Black Widow, No Restraints Play. I think I might have mentioned that in my last haul, but I did read that, another miniseries. It was all right. It was about like this like hacker who was using this system to exploit children, and it was very like we get Madripoor involved in the whole story, so that was kind of interesting. But yeah, it was kind of by the books type of story, pretty satisfying. I like the art, so that was that. And I did mention I did start reading the Marvel 2-in-1 Epic Collection, Cry Monster, and I did finish that, so that was really good. Really nice stories there. As I said before, there were some that I already read, so I skipped those. But yeah, overall, I was really happy with that book. That was a really good Epic Collection. Next, I moved on to Sculptor by Scott McCloud, which I recently picked up back in December at the Barnes & Noble sale that they do after Christmas. Sculptor, it was probably one of the saddest books I've read in my life. Definitely a very emotional book. And again, another page turner. I went and read that in like 2 days. It was just so emotional and so worth the read. So Scott McCloud is the writer there. So for anyone who's interested in that, that's a really nice graphic novel there. And then once I was down in Atlanta, I did bring some books with me when I was down there. So I read the Beta Ray Bill miniseries called God Hunter, which I believe is written by Kieran Gillen, or maybe not Kieran Gillen. I forget who writes it, but anyways, basically it's a story about Beta Ray Bill going around and killing these like planets before Galactus can eat all the people on the planet and saving the people in the process. It was a little weird, but art was really good. Beta Ray Bill, great as always. So it's a very satisfying 3-issue little mini series there. This all comes after Secret Invasion, so Skrulls are involved too if you're into that. And then after that, I did transition into my Captain Marvel readathon. So obviously that includes Marvel and Carol Danvers. Excuse me. But I did go ahead and start that. So I read the Captain Marvel Masterworks Volume 1. And I'm not sure if they published a second one. I know there's no Epic Collection, but I know there's an omnibus out for Captain Marvel. I'm not sure if it's still in print, but honestly, after reading the stuff in the first masterwork for Captain Marvel, I'm actually kind of interested in upgrading to the omnibus, just because I just found the first 9 issues of that series very appealing. Obviously his introduction starts in Marvel Superheroes number 12, and then we get the conclusion of that storyline in 13, and then he gets his new magazine or his new comic in issue 1 of Captain Marvel. But really, really great writing. Arnold Drake is the writer, which I do like his writing from other stuff. I believe he did the Guardians of the Galaxy writing for the initial run of that. So very much in that same vein of like space fantasy type of stuff. Don Heck art is pretty much all over this book, and I'm a huge fan of him, obviously dating back to his time working on Iron Man, Avengers, Ant-Man, all that stuff. So really, really cool to see his artwork again. Really dynamic paneling and stuff like that. So yeah, I was very, very impressed. I was going into this book thinking it was going to be a slog to get through, but it was just very interesting. And we get introductions of Jan Rog, which we saw in the Captain Marvel movie, I believe. We see his character there. We see a character called Una, which I don't think we saw in the Captain Marvel movie. I would have to go back and check. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but we get her as like the initial love interest for Captain Marvel. And then we get an introduction of Carol Danvers, who works on the Cape, the NASA Cape base with Captain Marvel, who's disguising himself as Walter Dawson, I believe his name is. But yeah, like I said, overall, just really impressed by it. There is a gap of the reading that I have there. So like I read up to issue 9 of the Captain Marvel series, and then the next book I had sequentially there was The Death of Captain Marvel. So obviously we jump a little bit further ahead there. So we do get issue like 34. That's like that collection I bought of Death of Captain Marvel had more than just the OGN. It had like Captain Marvel 34, I want to say, and then like Marvel Spotlight, something like 1 and 2, something like that, Superhero Spotlight. Some more stories with that, but you know, obviously the main appeal is the OGN of the Death of Captain Marvel, which was the very first OGN that Marvel created, and yeah, just very sad, very, very sad. I know a lot of background with that story. I know that, you know, Jim Starlin was dealing with the death, I believe, of either his father or his grandfather or someone in his family passed away from cancer recently, and that's what kind of, you know, made him want to make that story. I think Marvel was also looking to kill off the character, maybe. I would have to go back and check. I do remember hearing a little bit about this backstory here. But yeah, just a very cathartic end to a character, and for the longest time, I always thought that Nitro's like explosions were the thing that gave him the cancer, but it turns out the nerve gas that Nitro was holding that was gonna like be used against the world, was the thing that gave him cancer because he got exposed to it and as a carcinogen. So yeah, just a very sad ending to that book and that character. And honestly, we really haven't seen him come back in that full capacity yet, as far as I'm aware. Maybe not, maybe soon, but we'll see. But yeah, there's that. So I finished that. Very, very good to read that. And then I also brought in with me a little other book. I'm sorry, this intro is really long. Just a lot of reading to get through. I did read Justice League Midsummer Nightmare, which was a really cool story about basically how all the Justice League members forgot their secret identities as like superheroes and teamed together to fight this character called No Man, I believe. So that was really fun. And obviously, like from what I heard from my friends, it kind of leads into Mark Waid's like Justice League run, possibly. So like there's some cliffhangers that end with that. So yeah, and now currently sitting on my bookshelf, I am reading the second Miss Marvel epic collection. The Woman That Fell to Earth, I believe, was the name of it. And I'm about halfway through with that. Really enjoying that so far. Definitely gonna be skipping some of the stuff at the end just because I've read it. You know, most notably Avengers 200 and Avengers Annual number 10. So I've already read those two book issues, and I can skip those. So yeah, halfway through that, and then I also recently started reading Copperhead. Really enjoying that Image series so far. I decided to pick that just because it's a very short Image series I can knock out in a pretty short amount of time, and honestly, like I'm pretty okay right now double dipping between Miss Marvel and other series because I have plenty of time to read the rest of my Captain Marvel stuff before the movie in November, so I'm not in any rush to really get all that stuff done, but just trying to, you know, keep my palate fresh and, you know, just jumping into other things and enjoying other things, you know, during different parts of the day and stuff like that. So yeah, that is my 11-minute intro of what I've been reading this week. So definitely want to hear your thoughts of what you guys think of those books, if you've read any of them, in the comments below. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the haul here. So first book we have here is a book that I picked up at Walmart, actually. I was shopping there last week, picking up some things for my fiance, and I was walking through the book section of Walmart, and I saw this manga, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen that before, and I decided to pick it up, and that is the Spider-Man Fake Red manga here. And judging by the fact that I don't see a volume number on here, I'm going to assume this is a whole contained story. I don't believe this continues anywhere else in here, but yeah, this looks really, really cool. I don't know too much about this. I don't think this features Peter Parker. This features a different teenager character that is Spider-Man, but you can see here all the same characters there. So really neat. I've been definitely picking up more like Marvel themed manga recently. Like I have this, and then I do have the first 2 volumes of the Deadpool Samurai manga. So I do intend to read that when that ever finishes being collected, which if it's like any other manga, it's probably gonna be pretty long. So we'll see about that. But yeah, in the meantime, really cool to get this. This was kind of like an unexpected find for me, so really nice to have that in the collection. All right, next couple books here are some books that I picked up from Book Outlet. So yeah, throwback to Book Outlet from a couple years ago, when they had a crap ton of really good sales going on there. And I picked up a lot of books at the time there. I made like probably about 3 or 4 purchases at the time. And then the well went dry for a while there. But they have been recently getting some other decent books back in stock there. So if you're interested in a lot cheaper options for books, I would definitely suggest going on Book Outlet and checking out their website for some options. But yeah, so I picked up some of these books here, kind of capitalizing off of my hype after watching Oppenheimer. I went ahead and picked this graphic novel up called Trinity. And for anyone who's obviously seen the movie or knows about Oppenheimer and everything, Trinity is the name of the test that was used for the first testing of the atomic bomb in the United States. So that was the name of this book that they gave it. And you can see here there's Oppenheimer's eyes and the bomb going off. But little graphic novel kind of explaining the development of the atomic bomb. So obviously I've watched the movie Oppenheimer and I've seen, you know, some obviously the background to it, but really excited to read this in a graphic novel version and enjoy it. This did win, you know, some awards, it looks like, so pretty interesting there. And yeah, let's see if I can find a picture of Oppenheimer. That actually looks pretty much like him right there. So yeah, so we'll get this a read at some point, and very small book you can see here, but definitely worth the read there. Next book I picked up, again, another book based off of the hype of Oppenheimer, and that is Einstein. So this is like a graphic novel biography of Einstein. Interesting artwork going on here. I wouldn't say it's the best, not the best artwork I think I've seen. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the artwork from like the Ollie's ads, it looks like. And it's funny because like, you know, Ollie's, the main like kind of like mascot for Ollie's kind of looks a little bit like Albert Einstein, I guess. But yeah, this is interesting too. We'll give this a read. I like these graphic novels again as like a nice palette cleanser, and I was getting pretty low on graphic novels actually. I pretty much almost read all the ones I have, aside from like Mouse and let's see, well I guess I kind of have Sin City by there, but like I don't really count that as a graphic novel, I guess, because like, well I guess they are graphic novels, but I haven't finished collecting it yet, so that's kind of why I'm not reading it right now. So but yeah, really excited to get that one as well. So really just found those on a whim and was just like, you know what, they're cheap enough, let me go ahead and pick them up. So there's that. Next book I grabbed here was from a used bookstore in Oklahoma called Gardner Books. This is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that book is The Avengers Celestial Quest. And the reason why I picked this up, this is written by Steve Englehart, who wrote the initial Celestial Madonna storyline back in The Avengers, back in like, I don't know, The Avengers like 120 something, or it was pretty early in the Avengers series. I did read that. I definitely think it didn't live up to the hype that I was expecting for it. But really enjoying this art here. I can see here the illustrated by Jorge Santamaria and Joe Stanton. So really interesting here. We have a lot of interesting characters obviously going on. We have Thanos, Star Fox, you know, Mantis obviously in her green skin form, which I'm not sure when that started, like maybe in the 2000s or so. But yeah, I kind of just found this and I'm like, you know what, I'll give this a look. It's a quick 8 issue I can't talk right now, 8 issue mini like series, I guess, or whatever. So we'll put this with the rest of the Avengers collection that I have here. All right, next book up was an in-stock trades purchase, which took actually a kind of decent amount of time to get to me, honestly. So I'm kind of glad it kind of came here. It was, I guess, delayed coming out of the warehouse. But that book is wow, Doctor Strange by Donny Cates. This collects Doctor Strange numbers 381 to 390, as well as Doctor Strange Damnation numbers 1 through 4. So it seems like the pile of Doctor Strange books that have been added to my backlog since Multiverse of Madness has been adding up. I think I have probably about 4 or 5 more books now in my collection I can read with Doctor Strange, which honestly might be for the best because I'm sure there's going to be a third Doctor Strange movie at some point. So this will be nice reading to read in preparation for that. But yeah, this is one of those series that I just couldn't find. There was a hardcover that came out for this a while ago, and I just never got around to getting it until it was already out of print. But just looking at this here, this looks really nice. I love Donny Cates' writing. I've heard he's in the hospital recently, so I hope he has a speedy recovery, but if he's not already out of the hospital. But yeah, really hyped to get this. You can see the side here, the spine. Yeah, just a beautiful book. Is it worth $40? Probably not, but I think the art and the writing here will definitely make up for it. So really hyped to get into that at some point. All right, so when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, I did go to a couple of Second and Charles down there, and I believe they have about 3 of them around there. One of them was too out of the way for me to justify driving all that way out, but I did go to 2 of them. I actually did strike out at one of them. I didn't find a single thing to buy at one of the other stores for Second and Charles, but did go ahead and pick up some at the other store. First one here being Carnage USA. So this is a mini series that came out a little bit ago. I'm trying to think when this was first published here. Let's see. Yeah, this came out in 2017, so that was 6 years ago. But this collects issues 1 through 5 of that series. So again, just a nice little mini series to read here. Written by Zeb Wells, art by Clayton Crane. So you can see here a little bit more photorealistic artwork going on here, kind of like the Roca and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much this is like Carnage basically takes a town hostage in the United States, and it's up to a group of superheroes to stop him. So really neat. I did have this on my wish list for a little bit on bookoutlet.com, and it went out of print, unfortunately, or went out of stock on there, I guess. But yeah, really cool just to get this. This is again a nice book to throw on the pile for a trip when I'm traveling. Just some quick book to read in the airplane. I like to have these just as an alternate to a long run of reading. All right, so next book here, I found this also at the Second and Charles I went to in Georgia, and I think it's funny because a couple of weeks ago I talked about how I read this series and how I was looking online for the next volume and that it was really expensive, and I'm like, you know what, I think I'll pass and just wait and see if I can find somewhere. And sure enough, that book is Champions. This is volume 5, Weird War 1. And this is the second volume written by Jim Zub. So Mark Waid wrote the first couple volumes and then stepped off the book. And now we have Jim Zub writing this. This collects issues 22 through 27 of Champions. So you can see here the back. I'm sorry if you could hear a train passing by. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this. As I mentioned before, we kind of left off on a cliffhanger here with Nova losing his powers and Nova Corps. But I'm really excited to jump back into this. I feel like Jim Zub definitely breathed a new life into this book. I guess so much enough that Marvel kept deciding to print it, which I was honestly surprised that this had a volume 5, and I think it even has a volume 6 too. So that is pretty impressive. Honestly, in these days, it is impressive to go more than 20 issues past before you get canceled or change into some other book. So yeah, I think I showed some art, but yeah, really fun to get this, and yeah, just a nice book that just fell into my lap there. So, and maybe I'll say it now, but I'll hope to find volume 6 somewhere, and we can read that at some point too. So, neato. All right, Next two books here I found at a Half Price Books in Georgia, and those are the Ghost Rider series by let's see here, Ed Bryson, I believe is the name. So these are the 2019 series of Ghost Rider. So this is a little bit past the Fresh Start reboot of Marvel. This collects issues 1 through 4 of Ghost Rider, Absolute Carnage, Symbiote of Vengeance, and Marvel Comics presents 2019 series number 6 and incoming number 1. So really neat there. We'll show off some of this art going on. There's that. And then this one here, volume 2, which is Hearts of Darkness 2. Collects Spirits of Ghost Rider, Mother of Demons, number 1. Ghost Rider numbers 5 through 7, and Ghost Rider 2099, number 1. And I do believe I did pick up a Ghost Rider collection, The Return of Johnny Blaze, I believe it's The Return of Blaze, maybe one of those. I think that's the name of the book. That one I believe does have the same issue that's in here, the Spirits of Ghost Rider, Mother of Demons. But that one also collects more material, and this one also collects more material. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and buy both of these books because I don't want to miss half of the rest of this run. And I believe this only goes for this. Maybe there might be some more volumes here. I had to check. I didn't really look. I just bought these two and didn't really think about it afterwards. But yeah, like I said, like my Ghost Rider collection, it's quickly getting bigger. I have these two. I picked up the other book. I do have another trade of some, other material that I have to read at some point. And then I do have that first Epic collection that came out for Ghost Rider. And I believe there's another Epic that's solicited for it. So I'll have to pick that up at some point once it releases. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. So we'll see. We'll see if that grows as much as my Punisher collection has grown. But that's where I'm at with that. So really cool to get those two trades for half off. This book I actually already read on my trip back home from Oklahoma, and that is R.L. Stine's Man-Thing. So this is the first Man-Thing book I have in my collection. This collects issues 1 through 5 of the 2017 series of Man-Thing, written by R.L. Stine, which I'm sure many people know is famous for his Goosebumps books, which is why I bought this, because growing up I was super into Goosebumps. That was pretty much the only books I used to check out of the library every single week or so when I was in elementary and middle school and stuff like that. I do even remember buying a couple of Goosebumps books, like with money that I had for school and stuff like that. So really enjoyed this series from him. Yeah, just a really interesting storyline here. I really see his R.L. Stine's humor come through in this book. And obviously I don't have much to compare this to. I haven't read Steve Gerber's Man-Thing, which obviously is the definitive Man-Thing stuff. Well, I don't know if it's definitive, but like that's the original Man-Thing material that's been out. But yeah, I really like this. We also some stuff that's in here as well is some excerpts from let's see here, what are these called? The Chamber of Chills. So we get some like little mini stories of the Chamber of Chills, like different things. So I thought those were a nice little addition to read in here too. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. So really cool to have that in the collection as well. All right. Moving on here, we have a crime noir book that I picked up from Half Price Books in Georgia that I wasn't really on the lookout for, but picked up just because of the creator, and that is Torso by Brian Michael Bendis. This is based on a true story, and looks interesting. All black and white here, some paneling going on, different stuff there, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. This looks really interesting, and really hyped to pick this up. So really wasn't expecting to find this, or didn't even have this on my radar, but once I saw Bendis, I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and give this a read. So there's that. Next book I got here, again from the Half Price Books in Atlanta, Georgia, was John Walker, U.S. Agent. So this was a paperback that I had on my, I guess, list for like IST a while back. I didn't want to pick it up. I think I might have read one of these issues maybe, or maybe I didn't, back when I was on the Crackle Comics podcast. But obviously this was kind of trying to get people hype for the Captain America, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, starring John Walker as Captain America in that series. So I'll definitely be reading this with the rest of my Cap stuff at some point. But yeah, nice 5-issue miniseries to go here. And I don't think this is the first volume of U.S. Agent stuff. I think that we've had some other U.S. Agent stuff in the past, and this might just be a new volume to it. So yeah, really cool. So like I said, I'll throw that one into my my Captain America readathon once I get to that, which probably is coming up here soon because the movie's going to be in 2024. I think it's November now at this point, so I definitely need to get going on it probably early 2024 because I have a lot to get to. So there's that. And the last book I got here was from Book Outlet One, and I got this because, you know, I wanted, once I do get to my Fantastic Four readathon, I do want to read it in a very different way. Maybe not like not all of it in a very different way, but I do want to read that first issue in a different way, and that is the Fantastic Four #1 panel by panel. So not only is this a huge collection page inflator, it's also really fun. So back when I first started getting back into comics, I did see this at a store with my friend, and we looked through it, and I really liked it. Unfortunately, the place that was selling it at full price, and this book cover is $40, and I just didn't really feel the need to spend that much on this. But basically what this is a book that essentially has each panel of Fantastic Four #1 on a separate page, and kind of like this like old like newspaper style paper. Well, not the paper itself isn't that, but like the styling of it is that. Which, you know, obviously I've read this book before, but I'm definitely going to reread this once I do get to my Fantastic Four readathon. And I really think this is cool. You know, this is such a interesting like little treat to behold. Obviously, you know, Jack Kirby art in its largest design here, I think, is really, really cool. So you can see here some of the stuff there. And they also do include the ads here. So let me see if I can find that. But let me see if I can find it. Oh, such an iconic, them all going up into space there. But they also do include some of the house ads that are in here, and I think that's a really cool feature. See if you can find it, and I can't, so it's all right. If you have this book, you can look it up. But yeah, really, really cool, and a nice little treat there. And like I said before, this will definitely help with my percentage of what I've read, because that's not going to take me long to read through that. I mean, this is basically a single issue split up into like 250 pages, which to think that first issue has 250 panels is like crazy to me. So yeah, that is my whole comic haul here for this week. It's a lot of stuff, 32 minutes worth of stuff, so I hope you enjoyed that. And let's go ahead and get into the trading card section here. All right, guys, welcome back into the haul here. So for the trading card section, I don't really have too much to go over, other than the fact that when I was in Atlanta this past week, I did go ahead and stop in a Target just to buy a couple things for, you know, my travels and stuff like that. And while I was in there, I did go ahead and look at their trading card section for Pokemon cards, and sure enough, I found the missing battle deck that I was looking at, which is Tinkaton, which is a new Pokemon from the game that I still haven't bought yet, but I hopefully plan to get at some point. So yeah, really need to get these EX decks from Target. This was $10, so really, really great that this is a cheap battle deck here again. And we'll have to open these up and play them. So I definitely do have a crazy backlog of cards that I have to use with my cards and everything. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, really, really need to get that. So I can see here kind of what's on the back. But you know, if anyone's not familiar, this is essentially a deck that's ready to go to be played against somebody else. So if you're like me and you're too lazy or don't have enough money to go and build your own decks and spend all the money on these really expensive cards, or don't really even care to do that, you can easily pick this up, and there's a deck that accompanies this that you can also buy as well, and you and your friend can play against each other. Everything you need is in here. So you have the deck, you have you know, all the coins, damage counters, all that stuff. So really, really cool. And I'm so glad these are back to an affordable price now rather than like $18 a pack. These are $10 now. So nice. Pokemon, please keep that up for our own sake. So there's that. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for the trading cards here. So let's go ahead and get into the Lego. Alright guys, so welcome into the Lego section here for this haul video. So again, not too many sets to go over here today, but I do want to say that I did get all these for a pretty good discount, honestly. So like I said earlier at the top of this video, we're late July, early August is where we're getting into this period of out with the old and in with the new. So a lot of stores are trying to get rid of their older stock in preparation for the newer waves of Lego sets that are coming through, because obviously we have August here, we have September for new releases, and then usually we get a quiet period between October and the new year, and then once we get the new year, we get all the new sets that come out January 1st. So right now a lot of stores are trying to get rid of some of their older stock, so that's kind of where I capitalize on some of these. So starting with the first that I picked up here, I got this at Costco for about, I want to say 30% off, which was, you know, fairly decent deal, honestly, for a Lego set. So that is the dried flower centerpiece. So yeah, my local Costco that I went to had this set, and I believe it had the succulents, I believe, also for sale, which I already have. This one I didn't have and decided to pick up just because I think this is a compact one that I can build, and I do think this would be nice to display with our fall decor that we have in our apartment. I believe you can hang this on a wall, which will definitely help because we have a cat, and the cat likes to eat stuff, including Lego. So yeah, so I picked this up for about $35, which cover price. Retail price for this was $50, which I think was a little expensive. When I first saw it, I'm like, you know, I'll wait. And sure enough, got this for a nice sale. And this will be a nice seasonal item to rotate into the decor for fall. So there's that. Yeah, I'm really excited for this season of sets coming out here for Lego for Costco. I think usually around this time of the year now is when we'll get into that. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for sets probably this month, September and October, because that's when Costco starts to get their, once we kind of get past the back to school period is when Costco starts getting Lego sets for Christmas and stuff like that. So, and with that comes some pretty insane deals. If you're as risky as some people are with some of this stuff, you can actually wait even past Christmas and get some of these sets for like crazy deals. I saw some people getting sets for like 80% off at Costco. Yeah, just like for investors, going to Costco for Lego investing is probably like the best place to go, honestly. So there's that. So really cool to get that set. Next set I picked up was one I bought on Walmart.com, and it actually just came today. and that is the Floral Art Set. This I got for $55. So original retail price for this was $80, and I was like, hell no, I'm not paying $80 for this. Waited, and then sure enough got it for $55. And this does create a lot of different types of flower art sets, so you can make this. I actually was showing this just to my fiance today, and she's really interested in making the middle one there, so maybe I'll convince her at some point in the next month or so to help me build this. So yeah, really neat. You know, I love these art sets that LEGO produces. I like that they've recently decided to go with the tile look for most of this. You can see some different textures here with some of the studs, but overall this is a tiled off stud look here, which looks really nice in my opinion. But yeah, we'll get this a build at some point, and honestly, I'm probably just gonna store this until we move to a bigger place. I don't really have a lot of places to put this, unfortunately, for right now, but yeah, Walmart.com, another good place to check out for some sales here if you're looking for some LEGO sales. So there's that one as well. And finally, this one I also bought at Walmart, but actually in store. So I was shopping a couple weeks ago with my fiance. We were going, you know, grocery shopping and stuff like that for the week, and stopped by LEGO section. And sure enough, I found this set for 50% off, and that is the LEGO Harry Potter 76403 Ministry of Magic. So this set originally retailed for $100 at the time, which when you look at price per piece and all the minifigures, it actually seems like a pretty decent deal. But I just I don't have the bandwidth to spend that much money on a Harry Potter set. So waited and waited and waited, and sure enough, I got this for $50 at my local Walmart. I was very tempted to get two, but honestly, I might just keep this one sealed for now. I don't intend to build this anywhere anytime soon, just because I don't really have a good spot to put it right now. But definitely want to build this and display it at some point with the rest of my Harry Potter sets, which I will probably have to rebuild at some point, considering I broke a lot of them down into their parts. But yeah, just a really great set here. We got the Ministry of Magic here. You have so many minifigures here. You got Umbridge, you know, all the different characters that Harry Potter and Hermione and everyone duplicated. You can see even behind them, you know, their faces and how you can switch them out. Yeah, you got a Dementor, you have Arthur Weasley, you have little telephone booths. So I'm sorry, I can't really see that, but yeah, this is really nice, and it's modular, so you can move this stuff around. You can make it taller or more spread out like this. So I'm curious if someone online has bought multiples of these and kind of stacked them on top of each other to make like a giant Ministry of Magic. But yeah, really, really cool set. I remember when this first came out, a lot of people were surprised by it, just because LEGO has really stayed away from sets related to the Deathly Hallows, just because that movie is very violent and very dark. But this recent wave we've got from LEGO Harry Potter, at least a wave ago, has a couple of Deathly Hallow sets. And I know we got some more in this recent wave that came out. So yeah, so that's my haul here. You know, I said a couple decoration sets, couple sets to keep sealed and for later, but overall really hype. So hope you guys enjoyed that section here, and let's go ahead and get into the outro. All right, guys, so again, thank you so much for watching this haul. If you really like this content, I would I can't even talk. I would recommend liking, commenting, and subscribing for more content. I do videos like these pretty much every week, aside from the occasional weeks off where I have to do stuff for work or I'm traveling. So, but yeah, I have a whole playlist of these haul videos for you to go back and check if you want to look at that. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the flip side.